Today is Friday, February 19th, 2021, and this is the start of an interview with Wilma Sternberg. We're meeting on Wilma's 93rd birthday at the Mill Pond Inn in Jefferson, New York. My name is Bonnie Daly, and I'll be the interviewer. I'm a member of the Jefferson Historical Society, and this is being done in connection with the Jefferson Historical Society's Oral History Project. We'll mainly be talking about Wilma's memories of Jefferson many years ago. So, just to start with the basics, tell us your name.
Wilma Sternberg. Wilma Handel Sternberg. Mine was a Handel.
Perfect.
My father came from Germany. He was a descendant of the composer Handel.
Seriously?
Right.
That's wonderful.
He was a musician. He had a band. And they came to America.
And did you and your family have musical inclinations? Did you inherit that?
Oh, yeah. But they're all gone. I'm the only one left there. I have one sister left, and that's it.
That's okay.
Everybody's gone.
So where and on what date were you born?
I was born in New York City, in Manhattan. February 19th, 1928. It was a Sunday.
Perfect. And when and where was your mother born?
My mother was from Germany. She was born in Germany.
Okay.
And they came over here. I'm not sure what year it was, but they came over. They had 11 children.
Wow.
Lived in New York City. My father was a musician. He had his own band. But when it came to America, there was no call for that kind of music that he played. And so he went to work for the New York Daily News.
Was your father a reporter for the New York Daily News?
For the news?
Oh, he was a mechanic. He took care of the trucks. Kept them running. My father worked. He used to get up in the morning and go to work, and he didn't come home till the dark. He worked all day, from morning till night, till it got dark. He didn't. It wasn't like an 8-hour job like they have today. He worked from morning till dark. He used to come home late at night.
Right.
I know it was dark. It wasn't late at night for him, but it was late at night for me. It was late. He'd come home around supper time or after.
Yeah.
See, because the trucks run all day.
Right.
And he had to be there all day. It wasn't like you work today. You know, you go, hey, work 8 hours. No, it was a full-time job.
And when and where were your parents married?
They were married somewhere here in New York. When they came over on the boat, they got off the boat. They weren't married at the time, and they got married when they got off the boat. They had to get married to come off and get off the boat and come into America.
Interesting. Did your father tell you any stories about things that happened to the family?
No.
Probably just as well.
My father, as I say, he worked all day. He used to come home at night, and my mother always gave him a coffee, the big bowl of coffee, and we used to go and he used to let us dunk our bread in the rolls that my mother made, and we used to share that bowl of coffee. And my father had very little hair, and I know we used to climb up on the back of his chair. We used to curl his hair around. He had just a little long hair, and I know we used to. That little patch of hair here, and he didn't talk about, as I can remember, he didn't talk about Germany.
Yeah.
Neither one of them.
I
Never talked much
understand.
about Germany.
Right.
When we lived in the city, apartment upstairs, there was a woman lived up there. She was from. She was a Polish woman, and I know my mother used to go up and visit with her. And one time I had my tonsils out, and my mother took me up to visit with that woman, and they used to talk in German. They used to talk, I didn't understand a word they said, naturally. And she used to give me candy. Very nice woman. But no, they never talked about Germany or, no.
And they didn't teach you to speak German. That's interesting.
No. Well, they were told not to talk. They were told not to speak German
here
when they came here. after they were here.
Good way to become ostracized.
Yeah, and my father became a citizen,
Yeah.
but my mother did not because he just
Well,
had,
I think
that
it's
was it.
automatic, yeah.
But they were warned, you don't, no, you don't talk
Right,
German, you
true,
don't speak
true.
it. No, especially during the war.
Where did they live in New York City? What part?
They lived, let's see, we lived, Columbus Avenue, I think it was 2 blocks off of Broadway, 102nd Street in
Okay,
Manhattan.
perfect. And did your mom work as well?
No,
No, she was a homemaker?
with 11 kids,
Well,
no, I
yeah.
don't think she worked.
Good point.
She did a lot of cooking, she made her own clothes.
Nice.
They didn't buy, she bought material and she made her own, all our clothes was homemade. We never bought anything from the store except shoes.
Perfect.
Shoes and socks, underwear. My brothers, I had 3 brothers and they were in the service.
Oh, they were?
Yeah, my youngest brother was in Korea.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God, he came home. Tell you stories about him. Laying in the snow, the soldiers, eating, they were eating rats.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible. He come home, his legs were frozen. Had terrible time with his feet because they had been frozen.
Yeah. And he was in the American Army.
He was in Korea. My other brother was, they were in Iwo Jima.
Yeah?
Well, he was in the World War II. And
Did they tell you any stories about what had happened to them?
no, my oldest brother, you didn't talk about the war. It was, to them, I can understand that too, because to them it's terrible. You see guys getting killed and laying in, no, you didn't talk about it. Neither one of my youngest brother was in Korea. He was telling us about how he laid in the, I had to sleep in the snow, lay in the snow. But that's all. He never told us much of anything either. No, they didn't talk about the war. No,
But
it was too bad.
They came back alive and whole, it sounds like.
Yes, yeah.
Good.
They both, my oldest brother lived quite a while, but he had a lot of things wrong with him he had malaria when he was over there. But he lived quite a while, he was good. My youngest brother, they didn't talk about it.
Right.
My oldest brother, they don't talk about it.
So I thought...
My youngest brother got the Purple Heart.
Oh, he did? I almost asked, okay. Did any of the others get any medals?
My oldest brother did, yes, but don't ask me what they were. I know that my youngest one got the Purple Heart, but the oldest one, I don't know. He had a lot of medals.
Yeah.
He had some medals, yeah, but don't ask me what they were, because I don't know.
And tell me their names again. I don't remember.
Your brother's names?
Walter Handel
That was your oldest brother?
and my youngest brother, Fred.
Fred? And
John Frederick Handel.
John Frederick. Oh, that's a good name.
Yeah.
And the middle brother?
And the oldest brother, the real old one, they wouldn't take him because he had flat feet and he had a little heart murmur,
Oh, yeah.
so they wouldn't take him.
Right. And what was his name?
No, they wouldn't take him because he had that little heart.
Right.
He had a valve problem with his heart. His heart was enlarged and it got so big.
Yeah.
But back then when he had that, they had just started doing open heart surgery and he was afraid to go.
It was too early.
Get it done.
Yeah, too dangerous. What was his name?
William.
Oh, he was William. Okay.
He was William, and the other one was George Walter, and there was John Frederick is my youngest one.
Did you have any sisters?
I have 5 sisters. I had 6 sisters. One passed away back when they had an epidemic of, oh God, what was it? Diphtheria. And
What
my
year?
those 2 sisters had it. And the oldest one, the youngest one, she was 2 years younger a year and a half younger than Ida, my old sister. And They both got diphtheria. Well, the younger one died of it, but my oldest sister, Ida, the doctor said they only had a special diet they could only have. And my oldest sister wanted, in my family we were great lettuce with just vinegar and oil on it, and stuff, salt and pepper. She wanted that to eat, and the doctor says, oh no, she can't eat that. When he left, my mother said, she's going to die anyway. She got her lettuce, fixed it with the vinegar and oil on it. She ate that. She survived.
Yeah.
She survived. And to this day, her children drink. They take vinegar and they drink a little teaspoon of vinegar.
Vitamin C.
Yeah. And my niece, her daughter in South Carolina, had just a terrible, terrible cold. They thought it was the virus, but it wasn't. Do you know what? She got a temperature for 3 days and she was in bed. Do you know what she did? She drank vinegar. She drank vinegar and ate lettuce. And she got over that darn cold. And she swears that's the vinegar.
Yeah.
And I believe it. I believe it. My mother always said that's the reason why she survived that, because she ate that lettuce with the vinegar on it. And I had a younger sister that was thinking she was drinking vinegar while she was sick, but she got cancer.
That won't help with that.
No, and my sister's children, even to this day, the 2 girls, they still believe that vinegar is the best thing. You don't feel?
Yeah.
Have a little vinegar.
Yeah, before we had
do.
fruits easily available, vinegar was the way to get vitamin C, and still is. Yeah.
I do. If I don't feel quite right, I'll have
Good.
it. I wasn't feeling too good last week. I bought a head of lettuce, and that's what I ate for supper. I had lettuce and with vinegar. I had just the vinegar and oil on it.
And you felt better.
He had some strawberry vinegar he bought in, where was it from?
Lake George.
And I was drinking that. I was putting that on my lettuce, and that's what I had for supper. I felt good.
Nice.
See, I didn't feel quite right. I don't know. I said, I'm gonna eat my vinegar lettuce. I think vinegar is very good. I think anybody that has the virus today ought to drink vinegar.
Can't hurt. Do you know what the names of your grandparents were?
No.
No. Okay. But you know they were from Germany.
Right.
All right. So, when and where was your husband Paul born?
My husband's father?
No, your husband.
Paul. He was born here in Jefferson, on the Jefferson farm. They had 7 children, I believe.
How did you and your husband meet?
We both worked on the cauliflower farm in Stanford. His name was Jay Wickham. And he had a big cauliflower farm there. And when my folks moved up from New York City to Stanford, I went to work for this woman as a babysitter. And she had 3 children. And then in the winter. And then in summer they moved up to the farm to start the farming, the cauliflower farm. And so I went up there with them and babysat and helped them in the house. They had 16 hired help hands, which they fed every day, which we had to feed. I helped feed them, cooking, whatever. That's where I met my husband, on that farm.
What year would that have been? Do you remember?
We moved in 1944.
Okay.
And we were married in 1945.
Perfect. How old were you then? Let me see.
Oh, Lord. I was only 17.
So you went to high school in Stanford?
No, when I moved up from the city, I didn't go back to school. I went to work.
Ah, okay.
No, I didn't go back to school. I didn't finish high school. No, I worked I went down to Main Street in Stanford. There was a little store called the Newsstand. And they had a little fountain, a little counter. Probably not I don't know, it's I think 4 people. And there was a counter. And so I was there, and I got my job there, working there. And then from there, I found out about the job babysitting. So I went and took because she let me come and live with them in their townhouse. Beautiful, great big house.
Nice.
And I went there and lived with her. Her name was Charlotte.
Charlotte.
Wickham. And that was it. I worked a lot of places. I've worked. I think I figured it out one day. I worked 57 years of my life. I worked out. I worked at college. I retired from there. Went to Walmart, and I worked there.
What did you do at the college?
I was in charge of the food counter. Served the food. You had to set it up. I went in the morning and I opened up for breakfast, and then lunch, and then after lunch you clean up, and then I left. I worked from 6 to 3 every day.
Long hours.
Yeah, and then after I was there, I don't know how many years I was there, quite a while, and because I worked every weekend, and then I got weekends off, because I had so many years in there. They finally gave me weekends off. I had a good job at the college. I was on, they didn't have any labor management. So they started a labor management committee, and I was the one that started that, and I got all the benefits for people who worked in the food service, because they didn't have anybody to put in for raises or stuff like that now. So, and Paul was, he was a shop steward. He was in the GE, and he was on a committee that fought for benefits.
Sure.
So he told me what to do. So when they started that committee, and I was on that committee, I was head of that committee. There was me and 2 other women. And so he told me what to fight for, like holidays, days. I got 3 days off if there was a death in the family. If you had a death in the family, so we got 3 days off of pay for the employees.
Right.
We got a lot of benefits. We got good raises then.
Wonderful.
You see, they had nobody to bargain for them, so they just took whatever they got. So after we started the committee, they did really good. I really had a good time on that committee.
That's wonderful.
Benefits.
You really helped folks.
I mean, it's so sad though. They're all gone. All those men all the college and that I dealt with, all the people that I worked with. Out of that whole dining room service, there's only 4 people alive yet that I work with. You can imagine how many people work there?
We all have to live
You
with
can
that.
live a long time, but my God, when you see everybody gone, and you know that nobody...
I know. Well, you have to keep making young friends.
Oh, but I was glad to get on that, I was glad we started that committee up. And my husband was behind that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
To do that. Because that's what they had at the General Electric Company.
Good.
So we worked on that. Because Paul worked at General Electric Company in Schenectady.
Oh.
He worked for the GE, and after he left when we moved to Cobblestone, he went to work at General Electric.
So what did he do for General Electric?
I don't know really what he did. I know he was a shop steward. But what he did, I don't know. Probably made pots or, I don't know.
And how many years did he work there?
Oh gosh, not too many. Probably about 7.
Did he like it? Did he like working there?
Yeah, he liked it.
Despite the commute?
Oh yeah, he commuted, but somebody from Richmondville he used to ride with after we moved to Cobblestone. When we lived in Richmondville, he got a ride into Schenectady in the GE. And then when we moved to Cobblestone, he still rode with the same bunch of guys. I think there was 4 or 5 of them that rode together.
Nice.
And then they had that big layoff, and he was laid off.
Oh, when was that?
And then I can't tell you. Yeah. Then he went to work. There used to be a Texaco bulk plant down outside of Cobleskill. What is there now? My husband went to work for Gene Board, and he delivered fuel oil and gasoline, and that's what my husband did. And then you know where I'm talking about? It's across from Burger King. There's a little building there that's for sale now. Okay, and then that building that's in the back, that little long building that's in the back there, this side of that restaurant, my husband built that. That building there. That's where Gordon's had this. And all the big tanks, of course, they took them down. That's where that little restaurant is now.
Is that in Cobleskill?
Yeah, just outside of Cobleskill.
Okay. Diane knows where that is.
That building that sits in the back,
okay.
This side of that restaurant, my husband built that.
What was your favorite job?
I think my favorite job was Walmart. Yep.
Really? Why?
Why? Because I was a people greeter to begin with.
That's fun.
And very nice people every day. And then I had an emergency operation, and I was out for a few months. And they hired me back. They called me and wanted me to come back. So I went back, and I went to the garden center.
Oh, nice.
And I worked in that garden center with, great. Taking care of the plants and doing the Christmas, just great. Walmart was a great place to work. I don't know how it is today, but it was. For me, it was great. And they gave me really good raises, treated me really good. I helped hire some people. They were good to me. They were really good to me.
What years were that?
And
was that?
No, my husband went and got a job the same time I did, and he was a people greeter all the time. Paul. He was, and then somebody wrote Walmart and told them how nice he was and everything. They really liked him, and they gave him an award. They made him a gold vest. It was a gold vest award. They had never had that in Walmart. They did it especially for him because so many people liked him when he came in. He was so nice, and Paul knew a lot of people. He was very friendly. He wasn't like me. I was friendly, but I wasn't. I mean, he just knew everybody. Yeah. He knew their family. He knew everybody.
Seemed pretty friendly to me.
He was a great people greeter.
Nice.
They gave him that award, and nobody's ever had one since.
Really?
He was the only one that got it. It was a Golden Vest Award. Yeah.
What years? Do you remember what years you were there, the two of you?
What years? Let's see. I've been out of Walmart. I'm not sure. I've been out of Walmart what? 7 years?
Yeah, like you said,
See what? I'm just one of those people that when it's over, I don't really remember things.
Yeah.
You worked at Walmart like 10 years?
I worked there 14 years.
14 years you worked at Walmart.
He worked there 16 years. He worked 2 years after I.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the 2000s, basically, the early 2000s. Okay.
It's been, let's see, he's been dead 7 years, 8 years. I would say 8 years ago was when we left there.
Okay.
But yeah, I've worked.
Yeah.
That's what I was brought up there. I was 14 when I went in New York City when I got my working papers. I had to go get working papers, and I went to work, and I worked in the 5 and 10 cent store, Newberry's.
Newberry's.
Yeah, I did that after school. So I've worked just about all my life.
So where was the farm that Paul grew up on, that his parents had?
Right down the road there is the Sternberg Road. They named the road after Sternberg because they actually help. When they moved in there wasn't no road like there. It was just like a dirt road where you drove up. And they named that road the Sternberg Road because the Sternberg farm was quite a big farm. The other farmer that I can remember was, if you go down the hill across the road, there was a farm, Weaver. Their name was Weavers. I remember that because when I had the baby, I had cesarean, she came over and helped me. And it was a Weaver farm. But it wasn't as big as Paul's father's farm. It was small, but it produced a lot.
Right.
He had a big dairy, and they grew all their own food, and they never bought anything. When I went on the farm after his mother passed away, and I went to the farm to live with Paul after I had the baby, because he was in the service, and when he got out of the service, we came back and went to the farm.
Let's try to get some dates here. Let me see. All right, when was he in the service, and what did he do in the service? We'll skip to that.
He was only in the service for a year.
Okay.
He went in 1945.
And
then when the baby was born in 46, he got discharged to the farm.
The end of the war.
Yeah.
Okay.
He didn't leave Fort Dix, he was there all the time. In fact, when he went in the service, he got sick. He got the mumps. He was in the hospital for a long time in the service, and then he actually didn't do anything, and then he got some kind of infection in his finger, and he got it was something with his blood, he got an infection. And so he spent a lot of time in the hospital when he was in that year. He was only in for a year. That he never left the country, I think.
So he didn't see any battles. He was lucky.
No. As I say, most of the time he was in the hospital for 6 months of the year he was in there.
And was he in the Army?
He was in the Army, yeah. Okay. And he was stationed at Fort Dix.
And
he never left there. He went there and he never left until he was discharged. Then he left.
And I assume he was enlisted. He wasn't an officer. Was he enlisted, a private, or was he an officer?
No, God, I don't remember. He got promotion, but I don't know what. I can't remember. I can't tell you what it was.
That's
he wasn't
fine.
Private. No, he had been promoted.
Okay, so
lieutenant. I'm not really sure.
And you were living on the farm while he was in the service? Where were you living while he was in the service?
I was on the farm, yeah.
Okay. His parents' farm?
Yes, in that little house. When they got married, Paul's father, my husband's father, was born in Harpersfield, and his wife was born just outside of Cobleskill.
Okay.
When they bought this little farm over here in Jefferson after they got married, there was very little house on it. There was no modern conveniences at all. Mm-hmm. No bathroom, no kitchen, no nothing. It was just a little farmhouse, very old. Did they have electricity? Yes, they had
did?
electricity. No
What about indoor plumbing?
No, there was nothing. There was just one cold water faucet running in the kitchen. There was a sink. I'd say probably the kitchen was a 5x7. That was it. There was nothing in it but a little table and cupboards and a safe. Cold running water. You kept the fire going in the kitchen and the stove all the time to get your hot water. That was the only way you got hot water.
Was that a wood stove?
Yes. They cut all their own wood. They did all their own grocery. I mean, they never bought anything from the store. Everything was made on the farm. All those vegetables were grown and canned. And downstairs, the cellar in that little house was just dirt walls. There was the only thing was a wood floor. And they had big crocks down there, which they raised their own cow, beef, and they raised their own pork. They had a chicken house where they raised chickens. They sold chickens and eggs. and they had a sap maple. They made maple syrup and sugar. Maple cream. They had a big order for maple cream every year. They shipped it out. They had everything that they had, they made themselves. They didn't buy, like maybe sugar in the store. They made their own butter, they had their own milk, they had chicken, eggs, when they butchered the pig, they had the big crocks where they melted the grease, the fat, put the fat in, put a layer of meat, and then they put another layer of fat, and that's the way they had these big crocks with their meat in it downstairs in that little cellar.
To preserve it.
Everything was canned. All the vegetables they grew, she canned everything. They had their own apple trees. They made their apples. They had berries, their own berries, where she made all her own jam and jellies. They didn't buy anything. Everything was raised on the farm. In 1928, they increased their dairy, and they built, and all the farmers helped them, came and they built a brand new barn in 1928. It was, I don't remember how many stanchions, but it was a big barn, and all the farmers built that barn for them.
So everybody pitched in.
Yeah, they beautiful big barn. And,
Wonderful.
That was 1928. But the house, they never changed anything in the house. The house was exactly what like they bought it. Nothing in it. And the curtains on the windows was made out of the feed bag. When they got the feed for the cows, they had, the bags were really pretty. They were flowers and all that. So they had curtains on the windows made out of feed bags.
I've heard of women making quilts from those feed bags. Did anyone in your family do that?
My mother was, she made all our clothes, everything. She sewed.
Yeah.
No, she never canned anything. No, she never did anything like that.
So what about Paul's parents? Did his father serve in the military? Did Paul's father serve in the military? Was he in the army?
No.
Never did.
No.
Okay. Do you?
The summer that Paul and I were on the farm, he raised cauliflower, tomatoes, Brussels sprouts, and he had somebody came from, I can't think, it was Albany, Schenectady, or somewhere. He had crates, and he raised the vegetable, and he put them in the crates, and then the truck came and picked them up and took them to the city, wherever they took them. I don't remember. But Paul had he had a very good season with the vegetables that he grew.
So you mentioned Brussels sprouts. What other kinds of vegetables? You mentioned Brussels sprouts?
Yeah, he raised Brussels sprouts, he raised cauliflower, tomatoes. I don't think he raised any peas or beans, anything that we picked. No, that was about that brought the most money, and he did that really good. I mean, his cauliflower heads were so big, like if the crate had, I don't know, I think it was, the crate held 6 heads of cauliflower, but I think he could only get 4 of his in, because they were really big. His tomatoes were, great. I haven't had a good tomato since I've had his tomato. His Brussels sprouts, he used to pick, he just cut them and they were left on and then he packed them in a crate. And that's what he did the summer that we were on the farm.
Cool. And where did they sell them? Do you know?
What?
Where did they sell them? Were they all the way to New York City or to
No, they
local?
were somewhere in, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think it was New York City. No, I think they came from either Schenectady or Albany, somewhere there.
Did other farmers nearby have vegetables like your husband did?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember anybody have. Paul's father also was the first one in Jefferson or in this whole area that had a team of horses. Because they didn't do anything, they didn't have any tractor or anything like that to plow or all that stuff. Everything they did was done with the team of horses. And he had this team of horses. He was the first one here to have a team of horses. And they were beautiful. I had pictures of them, but I really don't know what. I didn't have any pictures of the farm. I had some pictures of Paul in front of one of the buildings. I think it was the chicken house. And I had a picture of Paul's father had a truck, and it didn't run anymore, but it was on the farm, stayed there. And I had a picture of that where the grass was growing up out the windows of the truck. It was really, really nice. I think I still got that.
Oh, we'd love to see a copy of that.
His farm, someone took a picture from a plane of his farm, of the Sternberg farm, and they put it on a postcard, and they sold the postcard with his farm on it. I wished I had the postcard, but I don't have it. And there isn't any family left there's only one family, member of the family that lives up in Summit. Their name is Van Buren, but there's only 2 girls up there. And they didn't have any pictures of anything. Of course, I called them and asked them, and they didn't have anything.
Thanks
I wish
for
I had
asking.
the postcard, so you could
That would
see.
be wonderful.
Yeah, it said the Sternberg farm on the postcard, and they sold them.
We'll look for that. If we find a copy, we'll get a copy to you. Yeah.
It was so long ago.
So how many chickens did your husband have on the
He
farm?
didn't have chickens. His brother was the one that raised the chickens. I don't know. He had a chicken. They called it a chicken house. A lot of chickens. And he sold the chickens. He sold the eggs. People came every day, every week, and picked up that. And they sold some of the milk. They sold in a 2-gallon or gallon jug. They used to come and get it. And then also you could take, which I didn't know, they took the milk and skimmed the cream off after it's set, filled the cream off, and then made butter. They had a turn, and they made the butter with the butter turn.
How many cows? Do you know? Do you remember?
I think they had 40.
Good.
They built that big barn, and I think they had 40 cows.
And what
I think
kind?
it was 2 aisles, 10. I think that's what it was. It's a big barn. All the farmers built that barn too.
That's
Didn't
wonderful.
have anybody come in. All the farmers in Jefferson around built that barn.
Do you remember what kind of cows they were?
Pardon?
Do you remember what kind of cows they were? Were they
No, they had mostly Holstein.
Holsteins?
They had a few Jersey for the cream.
Ah, got it.
But,
Okay. And how about the maple syrup? You mentioned, I think it was Paul's parents.
yeah, well,
Did you make, or did they make maple syrup? Who
they made the maple, yeah, they had a maple syrup bush, a place where they made the maple syrup, and then she made the maple cream. In fact, someone, about 8 or 9 years ago, someone came from Jefferson, he passed away. He came and he brought me a jar of that maple cream that he bought way back years ago.
Oh, wow.
And half of it was back into syrup, and the bottom, it separated.
Sure.
And yeah, it was really something that he brought it to my husband and gave it to him.
That was kind.
Way back. Yeah, they used to make the maple cream, and they used to, they sold it. They had, they mailed a lot of it to different people. They ordered it and then they sent it out. They were really good farmers. They did everything. And they had a cider milk. They made their own cider. They had sweet cider and hard cider. And they kept downstairs in that little dirt cellar. They had the kegs with the cider in it, and that was hard cider.
Was that during Prohibition? Was that during Prohibition?
Yeah, they I guess, probably. And they used to, when the other farmers used to come and help, in the summer with the hay, because they had the team of horses and they had the thresher on the back of the horses, which threshed the hay up, and so it dried out, so they could put it in the barn. And the farmers used to come in, they helped each other. And when they came, they all went downstairs to that hard cider.
That's wonderful.
And I remember that. Yeah, I didn't like it, but to each his own.
Now, your son mentioned that you might have some stories about cutting ice blocks from the pond. Do you remember that?
Yeah. They came down here on the pond, farmers did, and they cut the ice and took it back and put it in the ice house.
Right.
In the ice house where they kept, because then in the summer they had to buy ice.
Right.
But they used to fill the ice house with the ice off that pond. And then that's where they kept their milk and everything in the summertime, because they didn't have refrigeration.
Right.
There was no refrigerator in that house. They never had one. I never had one either. When I lived there, if you wanted milk, you had to go down the ice house and get it, or butter. The eggs you had to go get. It was all kept in the ice house.
So it must have been close to the house.
No, it wasn't that close to the house.
No.
No, it wasn't.
So it was a little
closer
trek.
to the barn than it was to the house.
Okay. So every morning, if you were making breakfast, you'd have to go get eggs and milk from the ice house?
His brother used to do that. He used to make sure that I had everything I needed.
Cool.
Yeah, to do that. I didn't do much cooking. To tell you the truth, I think my husband did more of the cooking than I did. Because he was used to the wood stove. You had to keep the fire going. And I had a baby. When I went to the farm, that's when I had the baby. So I had a young baby, and I didn't, the boys did most of the cooking. And if they needed something, they went downstairs and got it. There was canned milk, there was canned meat down there, all kinds of vegetables. All the meat was canned and shelves.
Great.
I mean, that little cellar was just loaded with all the canned stuff that his mother had done.
Yeah.
Because his mother had passed away the year before, but there was a lot of everything in that cellar. There was big crocks with the ham, and I told you about that. They made their own sausage. They had crocks with the sausage in. When I first went on the farm, and they had the butter churn there, because they made pounds and pounds of butter. But my husband Paul said, "Would you like to make some butter?" And I said, "Yeah." He brings me a jar with the cream in off of the milk. And he says, "Just sit there and shake it." And I sat there and I shake it, and finally I did get butter.
Takes a while, doesn't it?
Yeah. I made myself some butter.
That's great.
But I did it once. That's it. I mean, I sit there shaking this milk to get butter, this cream to get butter.
Yeah, it's an acquired habit. So when you got up to the farm, did anyone sing? Did you get together to sing or dance? Were there any get-togethers?
At the farm, did you have get-togethers? Like
No.
Parties?
No.
Bonfires?
No.
Yeah.
Paul's two brothers were in the service for a long time, and one of the other brothers raised chickens. He lived over in Hobart. Paul's older sister lived over in Hobart. One of the other, another brother had a farm in Worcester.
So did you have a radio at home?
They had a little radio on the farm. There was a little radio, yeah. Really little.
Yeah.
You were lucky to get a station on it.
Right.
And the phone, when we went to the phone on the farm and you went to use the phone, you had to crank it in order to use the telephone. And lots of times if you picked it up, somebody was on the phone. you had to hang it up and wait until they were done talking. But you had to keep checking to see if they were done yet. But when you wanted to talk on the telephone, you had to crank the phone in order to use it.
Right. And did an operator answer when you cranked it?
No.
Ah.
No. I don't, was there operators, they issue a number and you had to give her the number that you wanted to call. But,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think they were in Stanford. I
Right,
think they were in Stanford.
right. How many children did you have?
I only have two,
Only two.
yeah.
Okay.
My daughter's gonna be 75 in September. Yeah, and then, 14 years between him and my daughter,
Oh, long time.
yeah. And, Paul's father and mother had 7.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
Most of the children are gone. I only know 2 of them that are still alive.
Paul's brothers and
Everybody's gone.
sisters?
It's
Right.
nice to get old, but in a way, it's not.
Yeah, mixed blessing. So were you still on the farm when David was born? When your son David was born?
No, he was born in Cobleskill. I was in Cobleskill.
Stanford.
Huh?
I was born in Stanford.
You were born in Stanford Hospital, but we lived in Cobleskill.
I see.
See, I never got off the farm. I mean,
Right,
that's
right,
why
right.
I was there a year, and I had it. I told Paul, I can't take it no more. I'm a city girl. I had to get off. I felt like I was just confined to.
Right.
I had to get up.
I understand.
So he agreed to leave the farm, and
Got it.
I think it was a big mistake. I think we should have stayed there. I really do think we should have stayed on the farm. I think it would have been better. And not
Why?
until we had to leave.
Why do you think it would have been better?
Hmm?
Why do you think?
Because of the type of life it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
And I really didn't, after I left the farm anyway, I really didn't do anything. You know? It wasn't much different other than poor Paul had to look for work.
Mhm.
And I couldn't work because I had the baby and I didn't think about working anyway.
Right, right.
So
Interesting.
I think it would have been better if we had stayed there. His father, because his brother had the farm, and then his father, after we left, every night after milking, he used to come down here to Galfetto's.
Uh-huh.
And he used to come down and drink.
Uh-oh.
And then every night he did this after chores. And one night he didn't make it home. He ran off the road, and that was the end of him. But he used to come down here every single night to Galfetto's and sit at the bar and visit with whoever was here. And I mean, that was his
Was that
life
you?
because he was old.
Yeah.
No. Who was that again? That was Paul's father, right?
Paul's father, yeah.
Paul's father.
After they did the chores and the milking
Right.
was all over,
Right.
he used to get in his pickup truck and come down here and sit in Galfetto's at the bar and drink.
But he survived after that car accident, didn't he?
No, that was
Oh,
it.
dear.
Yeah,
Oh, dear.
no, that was it. Yeah.
When did you leave the farm, and when did you move to Cobleskill?
When did we move to Cobleskill from
Yeah.
the farm?
Yeah.
1947. Well, we was only on the farm for 1 year.
Oh.
And that was it. I moved to Cobleskill. My husband went to work for a cauliflower farm again, and then he also worked. He worked in a lumber yard for a while. During the winter, he worked in the lumber yard, cutting wood, doing the lumber for his fireplace.
And so you sold the farm?
No, when we moved off the farm, his brother took it.
Ah. Is his brother still there?
His brother?
Yeah.
Oh, he passed away. His children are gone too. Nobody left.
I see.
I don't know anybody that.
So the farm isn't in the family anymore?
No, when Paul left the farm, his brother just did the cows, that's all he did, his chickens.
Right.
And I don't know how long he was on the farm, to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Who took over the farm?
Paul's brother took over the farm.
Oh, Ernest.
Ernest,
Ernest took over the farm.
We want to ask about holidays. For instance, we'll start with Christmas. What do you remember about Christmas when you were growing up first, or what Paul would tell you about when he was growing up?
Well, we always had a Christmas home when I was a kid, growing up and everything. But when we was on the farm, no. There was no, I was there for Christmas, but there was no Christmas, no lights, no nothing like that.
No tree?
No.
Oh dear.
No.
Okay. Most of the farmers just cut their own tree and drag it inside. Your husband didn't do that.
When I was on the farm at Christmas, no, we had nothing.
Had no room in the house.
No.
Oh, that's right. How many rooms were there in that house?
It didn't make any difference to me. You know, as I can remember, it made no difference to me. But my folks always had a tree. In New York City, we used to wait till till Christmas Eve. And then we used to go down to the corner where the guy sold trees. And he would let us take one, because he was going to throw them out anyway.
Exactly.
So we used to go down there and get our tree and bring it back and put little lights. We only had one string of lights on it.
Yeah. Wonderful.
No, we didn't give presents or stuff like that. We couldn't. There was no way. The only thing I ever got was the roller skates. And I spent my life on the roller skates.
That's a pretty nice present.
Yeah, New York City on the street, roller skating up and down. I was good. And then when I moved to Stafford, they had the roller rink in Stafford, and then I used to go and skate there. Every night they were open, I used to go to the roller rink and skate there. That's about it.
That probably kept your healthy and good balance from all that roller skating. You probably
yeah. I had the roller skates. You fasten them on your shoes.
I remember.
And it had the Velcro.
Yep.
And then in Stafford, I used to go and roll. Every time they were open, I used to go and roller skate. And then I was going with the young gentleman that took care of it. And so he used to let me go down and roller skate when they were closed, because he was in there taking care of it. And so I used to go down and roller skate. I loved to roller skate. And I used to spend a lot of time there. When he was cleaning, he'd call me up and tell me, come on, and we'd go down there.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So that
I remember that it was amazing talking about telephones with the crank phone on the farm. When we moved to Stanford, it was quite a while before my folks got a phone. And you did use the phone. You had to get permission. Well, I didn't know anybody to call anyway. I remember that. That's years ago. Didn't have what they have today. Oh my gosh.
How about Halloween? What do you remember about Halloween?
We got holiday pay, which we didn't get before at college. We didn't have it. They didn't give it. You were off and you drew unemployment, so you didn't get paid for holidays.
Right.
If there was a holiday during in the summer when they had the students coming in the summer, we had outdoor barbecues where lunch and where you served the students outside. But no, you didn't get paid for holidays.
So I want to talk about your children and what you did on the holidays. Like, did you take them out for trick-or-treating on Halloween?
My kids?
Yeah.
Not very often, because my mother and father didn't believe in that.
Oh, they didn't?
When we were kids, no. Because you don't go, first of all, they said it was begging, you don't do that. They were a different generation.
Well, they were German, too.
We did not do that.
Right.
And in New York City, I can remember the one time we went out, what we call the stoop, where you step out of the building. I remember being out there one Halloween, and I got hit with silk stockings with flour in it.
That's
Only one time. No, my mother didn't let us out. We
Enough
did
of
not
that,
go out.
huh?
That was begging, yeah.
Right.
If we couldn't afford to eat, they have candy and buy it for us, you didn't go in.
Okay. How about Easter? Do you remember Easter? Yes, and celebrating Easter, either up here after you?
I did after I was married and I had the kids. We did, yes. Candy and eggs and all that.
Yeah.
But as a kid, my mother made, she used to make every Easter this bread. It was like just a great big loaf. It wasn't really bread. Oh, it was a baked good, but it had the eggs in the top of it. The colored eggs was in the top of this bread.
That's
and
kind of
what we had
fun.
for Easter. No, we didn't have candy. No, we didn't have anything like that. We had that, and you could have an egg, the bread that you cut, and then we had. In fact, when I was a kid, I drank coffee, and my folks were really. My father was a great coffee drinker, and he used to have a bowl with coffee in it, and he used to have a bowl, not a cup, with coffee, and we used to take a piece of that bread, and he used to let me go over and dunk it in his coffee. Can you imagine that? And then then I could have coffee. When I was a kid, I had coffee. And I used to have a cup of coffee. As I got older, I used to be able to have coffee and take a piece of that bread and eat it. But we never had candy, no. Couldn't afford it.
Right.
No.
Was it a big day for church, for going to church? Was Easter a big day for you to go to church, or no?
Oh yeah, we were Methodists, and we used to go. Not all the time. Once in a while, the minister used to come to the house. He used to come to the apartment in the house.
In New York.
Yeah.
What about when your children were growing up?
Well, when we moved, we joined the Methodist Church here, and it's not a nice story.
You don't have to tell
After
it
we
if you don't
moved
want to.
well, we used to go. There was a woman who had an antique business in her house across from us on Grove Street, and we went and joined the Methodist Church. She was a Methodist.
Now this was in Stanford or in Cobleskill?
This is here in Cobleskill.
Cobleskill.
In Cobleskill. And then my daughter I had her going to church. She was very big in the church. What the heck is the youth? Anyway,
Sure.
Methodist youth.
Girl Scout?
No, the Methodist church. They had youth, all the young people.
Okay.
And I know they went to New York. She was very big. She still is very in church. And I remember they went to New York City once on a bus trip, all the young people from the Methodist church. But then we built the house here in Cobleskill, and my husband had a heart attack. He had to have open heart surgery. Well, I couldn't make my pledge. I didn't have money to keep making a pledge to the church. And all I could do to make my house payment was my husband was sick and I had no income. I wasn't working. And I got a letter from the Methodist Church, and they wanted me to pay my pledge. And I told them I couldn't pay. I didn't have money to pay the pledge. I had all I could do to eat and keep my house payment.
They should have been helping you.
They sent me a letter.
Sorry.
No, they sent me a letter. The Methodist Church sent me a letter and said I was no longer a member because I did not pay my dues. God's truth.
That's different.
They sent me a letter that I was no longer a member.
I'm sorry.
Because I didn't pay my dues. But I don't feel bad about it. I had a Catholic, I worked with a woman for 12 years who was a Catholic. They did the same thing to her, and the Catholic Church did that to her. Yep.
They've never done that to me.
Believe it or not, it's God's truth.
Really? So I want to ask a little bit about games that you or Paul or your children might have played when you were children?
Did what?
Games that you would have played when you were a child. Do you
Games that I
remember?
played?
Yeah.
Well, I spent most of my time on roller skates in New York City. We didn't have cards in the house. We didn't have games. I don't.
You jump rope? You
Huh?
used to jump rope? You tell me you used to jump rope?
Yeah, we used to jump rope, and we went to the park a lot in New York City when we was kids. I mean, my mother, and especially in the summertime, she'd pick you could pick up a sandwich and half a sandwich or a whole sandwich, whatever you wanted, or fruit. She used to give you a nickel if you wanted to go. On the corner was a little grocery store, and I know when she gave me a nickel, we went to the park. I went to the grocery store and I bought a banana. And I always had enough money to buy bananas for 2 or 3 days. I always had enough money for that. We never bought candy or ice cream or stuff like that. If you went to the park and she gave you something, you went to that little market and you bought something like a banana or an apple or whatever.
Healthy.
We didn't buy, no, we didn't do that. Games, I can't remember.
Yeah.
I can't remember playing any kind of games.
Did your parents let you go to movie theaters? Did your parents let you go to the cinema?
I think I only went to the movies twice when I was a kid. The first movie I remember was a Rudolph Valentino movie, and it was outdoors, and I was very young. My sister, I remember her, she carried me and took me with her, and we went to see this movie, and it was outdoors. Now that was, years and years. I know she carried me all the way from the bus to wherever the movie was.
Fun.
And the only other thing, in New York, when I was a kid, when I got older, I went to the rodeo in Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
And that was the only thing I did. Only time I went to a movie or show. I remember going to 2 movies, but that's it. No, we didn't have money to do that.
Right. So
Up
what?
to 11 kids.
Yeah.
No.
So what about your children? What sorts of games did your daughter and David play?
Huh?
What about your children? What kinds of games did your daughter play?
Oh, we always played cards.
Oh.
What was that one game that we played?
Played hearts and pitch, and
We played Monopoly.
old Howard, black eye.
We played cards more than the games that you bought. We had Monopoly, and I don't know, there was another board game.
Scrabble.
With the card, with a
Scrabble.
Scrabble.
With the words.
Yeah, we played Scrabble.
Did anyone play a musical instrument? I know your family was musical. Did you play a musical instrument? Did anyone have a musical
No,
instrument?
it was amazing that my father, my oldest sister, I wanted to learn the violin. I wanted to play the violin, but I couldn't. But my oldest sister started, she wanted to do it. So naturally, being older than me, she got to start. Well, she took a few classes and then she didn't want to do it anymore. But then I couldn't do it either.
How about a television? When did you first get a television?
Television? Let me think a minute. I think we got a television in 1956. Yeah. I think the first TV I had was 1956.
And did the children watch it very much, or did you?
No, we didn't watch it very much.
Just a little bit.
To me, it was an expense, very expensive to run that. have it. We were lucky to get, we had a little bitty one.
Yeah.
But at least, you know, you had something. I can remember, oh God, what was the name of that? George Burns and Gracie Allen. Okay, that was the show that I watched.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So, and I never turned it on during the day. Never. Because it was too expensive.
Old Home Day. Did you ever go to the Old Home Day celebration on the Village Green here in Jefferson? No?
No.
You don't remember it?
No.
Okay. Did
Now, the
Paul?
one year that we lived here, no. I've been over here to the home twice with Paul's niece, lives in Summit.
Okay.
She came over and she picked me up and we came over. I've only been to it twice.
Okay.
But that's years ago. 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
Okay. What about the Maple Festival? That was more recent. Maybe that's what your niece took you to?
No, Paul and I don't remember the last time. Well, it had to be like 8 years, 9 years ago. We went to the Maple Festival.
Oh.
No. Yeah, David, I went with David, different places.
Yeah.
Recently, though, that
Yeah.
wasn't nothing back then.
To anything like Old Home Day or?
You see, like, they do the street with the scarecrows and stuff for the Halloween. We would come up and drive through.
Okay.
There's things going on. We go to the cemeteries. Go up the mountain there.
Jefferson?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Stanford.
Oh, it's the anthem.
Yeah. Paul's mother and father, and one of the babies that died are buried in the little cemetery here in Jefferson.
Oh. The old cemetery?
And my folks are buried in Stanford.
Okay.
But there was a baby that died, a male. He's buried up there in that.
In Evergreen Cemetery or in the old little cemetery?
The one here in Jefferson?
Just up here to
A
the
little
right.
bitty one up on a hill. Right, if you go past the Sternberg Road, it's on there.
Okay, that's the old one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very small.
Good, okay.
But that's
And
where
then,
they're
and then
buried.
your parents are over in Stanford.
And my folks are buried over in Stanford.
How about the Village Green here in Jefferson? Do you have any memories of the Village Green? Anything that went on there, like the slide and the teeter-totters? Did your children ever play there? No?
No, I remember, Paul, we stopped there and looked at they had what was it for, all the soldiers' names
Yes,
on there.
the
I don't
memorial
know,
with
is
all
it
the
still there?
names. No, they took it down.
Why did they take it down? That's history of Jefferson and all the names of boys
I
that
know.
came from here, and they take it down.
I felt the same way. I
That's
wasn't
undoing.
here when it happened. I think it
I
was
could never see that.
deteriorated. I don't know.
I can't see destroying history.
I totally agree.
like people going up and out and destroying statues of people. I mean, why? You know?
I know.
Who knows?
We want to ask you about snowstorms and blizzards. What were winters like in Jefferson when you first came here? Or did your husband tell you about winters
Well, I
in Jefferson?
didn't get off the farm very often. I didn't get off the farm. I mean, it was one of those things you didn't go. It was on a farm, you stayed there. I came down to the Mineral store. They were very nice people too, German. They owned the place, if you're going towards Stanford, they owned that place there with the pond.
With the pond, right. Yeah, they built that. That's right.
I never left.
Did you have a lot of snowstorms? Did you see no?
Don't remember
We were
that.
snowed in quite a bit, but somebody came and plowed the road. They had a tractor and they plowed us out.
A neighbor?
I don't remember
Okay.
ever a big truck or anything plowing that road, no.
Right.
We
I just,
were snowed in quite a bit.
Since you mentioned the Mitterers, I wanted to ask, did you know George and, can't think of her name now, Vera Mitterer very well?
The Mitterers?
Yeah.
I only know them when I went to the store. I only went in the store a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't leave the farm. I was, that was it. You were
Right,
there,
right,
you were
right.
there.
With
You
the
had
baby.
things to do and you didn't. And if anybody had to go anywhere, my husband or his brother went someplace, you didn't go with them. They went by themselves.
Okay.
I didn't go.
So where were you living in the winter of 57 to 58?
Where were we?
Yeah.
In Stamford.
In Stamford. So you remember the blizzard that year. That was the big blizzard in spring of 58.
Yeah. My husband worked for the, what did he do? Oh, at night, he had a job in the bowling alley in Stamford. He used to set pins to make a little extra money.
Cool.
Back then it was
Yeah.
no easy street.
Did you have trouble digging out of the storm?
No, you didn't.
No?
I didn't go. You just didn't go. I didn't go. I hardly left the farm. When I came over here, I hardly left. I'll bet you I didn't leave all year. I'll bet you maybe 6 times off of that farm. I didn't go any place. They didn't go off the farm.
Yeah. So
They
you
only
don't.
went off if they had to get something or do something.
Right. So you don't remember much about any of the storms? No. Okay.
No.
Do you have any photos of them? Do you have any photos of the deep snowstorms? No.
No, I don't have them. I wished I did, but I don't.
Yeah.
Somebody, his mother there was albums and there was pictures, a lot.
Yeah.
But when his mother died, I think one of the girls came and got the albums. And I had never seen them after that. But I know they were in the house and I did see them.
Huh.
But I know one of them's gone. Or today, who knows where they are.
Right.
Even if they still have them.
Yeah. What
You know?
our president of the Jefferson Historical Society likes to take copies of photos. So if you can find those, they can still keep them. We just like copies.
The only photo I had was the picture of the horses.
Oh, love that one.
He was the farmer who had
Yeah.
the horses. They were 2 white, beautiful.
Oh, I
horses.
wondered, white.
And I can remember that. But
Okay.
I never seen them. I mean, there's just a picture I seen of them.
Businesses. You do remember the Mitterers store here in
Right.
Jefferson. Do you remember anything about the Hewlett store or any other businesses in town?
No, because I didn't get out. No.
Right, right. That's okay. Where was the post office when you first moved here?
No idea.
Don't know. Someone else picked up the mail.
No idea.
And did you ever go to the Peppercorn?
The what?
The Peppercorn?
Peppercorn? The peppercorn? Did you ever go there?
No.
Here?
No. Okay.
No.
Okay. Okay.
When I went to the farm, when I came here, as I say, Paul was in the service. I went on the farm. I was expecting the baby. I had my cesarean operation. I had the baby. Went back to the farm, and I never got off the farm. I didn't get off the farm. I mean, if they went somewhere, I didn't go. Because I had the baby and I stayed there.
Right.
I didn't get off the farm.
Did
No.
did you want to get off the farm? Were you kind of?
No, as far as I can remember, no. I didn't care whether I remember going to Mitterer's store twice, but I never went anywhere else. No, I was on the farm and that was it. And I know the Weaver farm, when I get out of the hospital and came back to the farm, Paul's brother brought me to the hospital because I was staying there. And then I had the cesarean, and then he brought me back to the farm. And the Weaver girl, one of the Weaver girls came over and helped me because
good.
I had the operation.
Yeah.
And she came over and helped me with the baby. And
Great.
well, I never got off. No, I never left. No.
Okay, well, since we're here at the Mill Pond Inn, we wanted to hear about your memories of Golfetto's. When this building was Golfetto's.
This was Galfetto's restaurant, yes. And,
You must have come here a lot.
well, after we moved to Stanford, we came over, and we used to come over because she made the best spaghetti and meatballs.
Ah,
Oh my gosh. We used to come over, once in a while we come over because we didn't have that money to eat out like that. And so we used to come over as a treat and come over and have spaghetti. Oh, really, really good. Nice warm Italian bread she made.
nice.
Really good. And there used to be a shuffleboard.
I remember that, yes.
We used to play shuffleboard.
Yeah, yeah. So what years would you say that was?
Probably 47, 48, somewhere in there.
Yeah. And can you tell us a little bit of the history of when, do you know much about the Golfetto's, when they took it over and how long they ran it?
Galfetto's, no, I don't. One of the Galfetto boys, Pete Galfetto, he had a jewelry store in Stanford. In fact, he gave me a set of jewelry that I still have. It came from Europe somewhere. I don't remember what. It's one of the countries over there. And Pete Galfetto had the studio in the jewelry store in Jefferson, in Stanford, I mean. His father and mother lived in one of those houses on Main Street, the one with the, I don't know what you call it on the top of it's outside by the school. It's got one of those big round things.
Oh, the round like turret with a cupola?
I believe.
I missed that. What was that?
Yeah.
He lived in a house that was green.
Ah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Pete Galfetto was a very good friend of ours. Really, really good. And I know we used to come over here to eat all of it.
Yeah.
They were really good, really, really nice people. Outside of that, the only other people I knew in Jefferson was the Weavers from the farm. If you come down the Sternberg Road and went across, there was a farm over there, and the name was Weaver. That's the only people I knew. I didn't know anybody else.
So how has this building changed since it was Golfetto's?
How has it changed?
Yeah.
Well, the entrance there where you come in has changed. That's changed. It's not the same as what it was.
Okay.
I never was back in here, so I don't know.
Oh.
We only came in the front door, sat down, and remember the barn and the shuffleboard? We used to play shuffleboard. And whoever won, they had to buy them the drinks. I remember that.
That's good.
I used to be pretty good at it. I very seldom bought drinks. I love the shuffleboard. I paid a lot on the shuffleboard.
Yeah.
We came over here like for a while, I don't know, on an occasion, like maybe every 2 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometime every week, which we liked the spaghetti, and we liked to come over, play the shuffleboard, and spend a few hours. That was it.
Did you still know the place when it became George and Lil's?
Oh yeah. I mean, the outside, looks the same. The parking lot full again. I don't have to give you numbers. Yeah.
Did you still come here for dinner after there were new owners? No. No good spaghetti anymore. Oh. Okay. So,
I know I asked her one time how she made the meatballs, and she told me what she put in it and everything.
do you remember?
And, yeah.
Ooh.
And so I made the meatballs, they were really good. I have to say I did them good.
We're collecting recipes.
She was a wonderful woman.
Was
They
she?
were wonderful people.
Yeah.
They
Do
were
you remember
really,
how to
really.
make them?
Huh?
Can you tell her how to make them?
Do you have the recipe?
No, she didn't tell me. She told me what she told me how she made them and what she put in it.
Can you tell us?
I did make them, and I still do them today.
So would you share that recipe with us?
I still do the same. I make them the same way today as I did back then.
So what's in it besides hamburger? What do you put
What
in
is in it?
Yeah.
Onions and green peppers and garlic and breadcrumbs, eggs, little milk,
That sounds like about
Italian seasoning.
Ah.
That's about it. But she told me what I did, like you took the onion and the pepper, the green pepper, and you fried them in butter before you put them in the meat. Then you had to fry, but then you had to cool them, make sure when you put it in the meat that they were cool. But that was one of the things that gave it a good flavor, was frying the onions and peppers and stuff in the pan in butter first, before you put them in. You didn't put them in raw. They were good.
Well, we may add that to our Jefferson cookbook.
Oh, my mother was a great jelly donut maker. She used to make jelly donuts because one of his sisters had a bakery in New York City. But my mother did all the cooking and baking and everything. Didn't buy anything in the store. And she was a great jelly donut maker. And she made jelly donuts. She used to take them to the butcher during the war, and he'd give her a little meat. She'd give him jelly donuts.
Nice.
I'd take them to school and give them to my teachers. See, that's a good way to buy. But anyway, yeah.
Do you still make jelly donuts?
I have not ever made them.
Oh.
I wanted to, but I never had. No. And recently, I've had such a craving for a jelly donut. He brought me one last week.
Oh, good.
My granddaughter Olivia brought me one from New York City one time. But no, I never made them. No, none of my sisters, they never made them either. I don't know why. My mother made jelly donuts all the time.
Yeah.
That was one of the desserts we did have. She made her own. She bought the berries off this little guy that came around with the horse and wagon, and she'd go out and buy the vegetables and off of him. And she made her own jam to put in the jelly, to put in the donuts.
Cool.
No, I never made them.
I was hoping for that recipe.
I got a recipe for them.
You do?
I never made them.
Would you share that with us? Okay.
It's an old recipe, but it's good.
Excellent, excellent. Are there any traditions or customs that you've tried to preserve through the years that were your family traditions? Yeah. Nothing in particular? Well,
Probably just cooking.
the cooking, yeah, those are good.
That's how I learned to cook, because she would clean up after me. Otherwise, I would have never learned to cook.
Just my mother.
And I used every dish in the kitchen.
Well, here's a tradition that I think you might have preserved. You mentioned right at the beginning that your middle name, Handel, came from the great composer. So that's...
Oh, yeah, Handel.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
my father's a descendant
Right.
of Handel, the composer. Yeah.
So that's something that's been passed
They had
down.
a Handel museum in Germany. And I always wanted to go to Germany, and because I had a friend that I worked with, she went to Germany, and she said she heard the name Handel. She asked about it, and they had a museum. The Handel
Probably still
museum.
do.
But during the war, they went in and wrecked it. So I wanted to go to Germany and look up that, and I know my father had family there, but a lot of them during the war.
Oh, right. Well, we wanted to ask quickly about your current dealing with COVID. We figured we're in the middle of a historic time right now with the COVID-19 pandemic, with the virus. So we wanted to ask how you're dealing with that, how it's affected your
I
life.
don't go out of my house very often. David takes me shopping for my groceries when I need. Most of the time, he'll bring me stuff that I need. And stuff that I don't need and stuff that I didn't say. He brings them anyway, like cookies full of sugar. But anyway, no, that's what I don't, I went out to, one of my friends took me to the Bull's Head for dinner, for luncheon I mean, on my, what was it, Wednesday, because it was a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
And she drove from Schoharie out and took me to lunch at the Bull's Head. I don't go anywhere. No. If I go, it's with him. If he goes someplace, I can go.
But things haven't
I'm
changed.
very careful. Everything when I go to the store, I make sure my hands are all just. And when I don't bring anything into the house unless I wipe it all down with Clorox. I have a rag and I wet Clorox and I wipe everything. I don't put anything in my house that I don't wipe with Clorox.
Wow, good.
Make sure I'm not bringing any. How do I know if somebody walking by? You don't know.
Touched it,
You
right?
pick up a can on the shelf and bring it home. Pound of butter. Who knows?
Exactly.
I wipe everything, even my mail. I wipe the outside of my envelopes.
Smart.
And if I open them up and look at them, I'll do it afterwards, after I've opened them up and I make sure that I wash everything. No, I'm very careful, very
Excellent.
careful.
Excellent.
It's kind of ironic. We come here, I bring her here every 1 to 2 weeks. We don't have the meatballs usually, the spaghetti, but
I've lost a niece in the nursing home in Oneonta. She died on
Recently?
her birthday, January 22nd. She died of the virus too.
Last month.
yes.
Oh, I'm so
Yeah.
sorry.
She died on her birthday. She was 75. And
Yeah,
they brought it into the nursing home and
right. It wasn't, was it the COVID virus?
19.
It was.
Yeah, it was a virus. The 19. And I have a sister in California. She has a son. He's a minister. He's in Oklahoma with bad state.
Yeah.
He had it, and his son had it, and thank God they've got through it. They're all right.
Yeah.
But no, I don't know. Just my niece. She's the only one that I know that passed away with it. I'm very careful.
Well, good. Stay that way. We want to wrap up with any other special memories that you'd like to share with us. Is there anything you really want preserved for history that you'd like to tell us? Some wonderful memory or some terrible memory, something you think that's important that you want to share.
I don't know. I can't complain anything about my life. I have no complaints about anything.
Yeah.
I think I did good. I worked mostly all my life. And I like to travel. I was really glad that I spent the time on the farm that I did.
Yeah.
Because I seen and did a lot of things that I would not have known about if I had not been on the farm. No.
You didn't tell us where you've traveled.
I love to travel.
Yeah.
And when Paul and I could afford a car, we used to get in. He used to just drive to Oneonta or something, was it just drive? And all the years, on the weekend, if we weren't, well, we worked mostly all weekend.
Yeah.
But when we weren't working and it was a nice day, even during a stormy day, we used to get in the car. I love to drive. I love to ride. I love to travel. And I remember one time we had just gotten a new car, 1951, and he bought a little Chevrolet, two-door Chevrolet over in Stanford. and it was winter, like today.
Yeah.
It was just kind of a day, and I had to get in that car and go to Stanford. I just had to go over there. So I got in the car and drove, and coming back, it was so bad, I stopped, and it was getting dark, and I stopped because I couldn't see. It was snowing. And all of a sudden, I see the lights in back of me, and I stepped on my brake to pick my lights, and they stopped. And it was a couple of college kids. And they came around, and he says, "What's the matter?" I said, I can't see. Do you mind if I follow you down this? It was top of Summit Hill.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, "Sure." So they let me follow them to Cobblestone. I could not see to get, I would have been in that room.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my daughter with me. She was only 5.
Right.
And here we sat in that car. I couldn't see the road.
Oh.
It was snowing something.
And the Richmondville Hill back then was a lot worse than it is now.
Oh, yeah.
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 Oh, that's good.
No, I'm glad I spent the time on the farm that I did. If I could go back and do it over, I'd have stayed there longer.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
Made more butter.
I would have stayed there a lot longer.
Uh-huh.
But Jefferson was a little town that I just didn't get to know.
Oh,
Because I never left the farm.
that's all right. You've told us a lot of wonderful things.
I mean, you got there, that was it. You were a farmer.
That's right. We have heard that from a number of other folks.
Yeah, but they were so, my husband was so busy, you know, raising the vegetables and everything, and with the big dairy. And then he also started driving, picking up the milk, taking it to the creamery.
Ah.
So he started doing that. I mean, they were really busy. They had no time for ramming or.
So he picked it up from other farmers too.
Oh, yeah. He loaded the truck with his milk, and then he picked it up from all the other farmers and took it to the creamery.
Where was the creamery?
Stanford.
Stanford.
There was a creamery in Stanford on, I think it was Railroad Avenue.
Uh-huh.
There was a
Sure.
creamery there.
Okay.
And he used to take the milk to the creamery. I mean, you didn't have time to. Maybe that's why I love to get in the car and go, you know, because when I was a kid, my father never had a car.
Right.
My brothers, when they got older, they had a car. They lived in Long Island. And I know my older brother, he got a little, you see him at fairs now, it's a little teeny car with the rumble seat in the back. When he bought that new, he came and I remember he put us in the back of the rumble seat. He says you could ride back there, and he took us for a ride down Riverside Drive in his new little car with the rumble seat. I mean, that's going back.
That would have been, what do you think,
back.
the 30s? What year would that have been, roughly?
Oh God, I don't know.
Or what decade?
I probably was about 10 years old.
Yeah.
I'd say it was about 10 years
So
old.
maybe the 30s. Yeah.
One time, as I remember in New York City, I just don't think about New York City that much. But I remember my sister said, "Come on, they went to Macy's, we went down, and we got back in the subway, and they got on the train, and the train pulled out, and there I was standing on the dock.
Oh! All by yourself.
I must have been really young. I think I was only about, I don't know, I must have been 8, maybe 7, 8 years old. I was really young. And they got on the train and they left me. I seen them doing this in the window. Ah! I said, what the heck? What am I supposed to do? So I stood there and I didn't know what to do. And this man said to me, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yes." I told him where I lived on 102nd Street. I says, "I don't know how to get home." He says, "When the train comes, I'm going to put you on." And I said, "When you look out and you see the sign that says 102nd Street, get off that train." So that's what I did. He put me on the train and I watched for that 102nd Street station. And then I get off. And then I knew where to go home.
Yeah.
And they were frantic home, thinking, what happened to her? They didn't know what to do. And I walked in the door, and I thought, what's going on? Why'd you leave me at the train station? Why'd you leave me on the railroad? Down in the Oh.
But after that, you still love to travel.
They say, how did you get home? I said, some nice man put me on the train, told me how to get home. But I think it was only about 8 years old. I was very young. I just about remember that.
Oh my
But that's the
gosh.
only thing that, I can't remember anything in New York City that was bad.
Okay. Ah, good.
No.
So Diane, do you have any other questions
No,
before we
we're
wrap
good.
up? All
We're
right.
good.
We-
She did beautiful.
Yes, you really did. We want to thank you so much, and especially on your
Oh, you're
birthday,
welcome.
to tell us
I
all
wish
these
I could have
wonderful
been more
stories.
help for you for Jefferson, but,
You have been. You don't realize you really have been.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got to the farm and I only was off it about twice, that's it. I guess they came down the middle of the store.
Okay.
That was it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.